time for spine number 2, and for something that I have never heard of before. I have heard of Sister Street Fighter, but never Lady Street Fighter. Who knows? So it's a 1981 American action and exploitation film, directed by a guy called James Bryan, who did Don't Go in the Woods and then just a bunch of porn, by the looks of it. And the film is written by and starring Renee Harmon, who it looks like is sort of the creative driving force for this entire thing, and her name is plastered all over the box. She's sort of the creative spark, if you want, for this. And the film also has a little walk-in by Trace Carradine, brother to David Carradine, so keep your eye out for him, I guess. I don't think he's got a big role. I don't even think his character's got a name on Letterboxd. I think he's just there somewhere. Interesting. So I know absolutely nothing about this and I have no idea what to expect, but I'm hoping for some low budget fight scenes and a little bit of sleaze. Let's have a look, shall we?
Come off it, John. She's dead.
Jackie says she's got the dog. Bert will take care of that. All you have to do...
Well, this time your cover worked a little too well. Get it?
Billy. It's nice to put tits.
Excuse me. Don't do that, sweetheart. I'm getting all excited.
The plot follows Linda, who's played by Harmon. She sets out to take revenge on some gangsters who kidnapped and killed her sister. For some reason, it has something to do with a Snoopy doll that contains a cassette that I think is some sort of master plan that keeps getting mentioned. I don't know. It's a tricky one to follow, this. We'll get into why in a little bit. For a 72-minute long film as well, it really drags. It is such a slog to get through. It's barely a feature, and it felt like I was sat watching this for a very long time. Again, that might be informed slightly by something that we'll talk about a little bit later, but it was not easy to sit through. Not much happens at all in this film, and I just could not wait for it all to be over. It's a real mess.
Hi, I'm Inez. I love you. This is my dog Bow Wowie. I love him.
What's a mourner?
That's a nooner, only sooner.
And what's a nooner?
That's a matinee in the middle of the day.
No word of a lie, the acting in this might be some of the worst acting I've ever seen in one of these reviews, and that's saying something. It is absolutely abysmal. It's ADR'd a lot of the time really badly, but not only that, the dialogue, the way it's written as well, is just bafflingly bad. Now, this does make for some entertaining moments, and honestly, it's the most consistently fun element of the film. But it does get a little old after about 30-40 minutes. You're like, okay, come on now. Funnily enough, the worst person in this is probably Renee Harmon. I don't know what she's going for, channeling some sort of female Tommy Wiseau, which is fitting to say she was a big part of the making of this. But she just keeps looking into camera and she's just atrocious. Apparently as well, she teaches screenwriting now in some college in America. I don't know. So the violence is minimal and pretty cheap. Nothing really worth mentioning. The same can also be said for the nudity. It's all just, I know I've just said it, but it's all just very cheap. And anything outside of that, any other technical aspects of it, are either passable or just not worth mentioning. Really, they're just not really worth talking about. I guess the sets aren't too bad. It's probably about as far as I can compliment it, really. So, the film, though, is called Lady Street Fighter, so you're probably wondering what I was wondering going into this. What are the fights like? Are they going to be any good? Well, short answer, no. I counted 2.5 fights in this, and I'm counting fist fights. There's a bit of gunplay as well, but I'm talking street fighting, you know, not just gun fights. They're boring. There's 2.5, and they're pretty pathetic, to be honest. They're badly choreographed and a bit lazy. And funnily enough, the lady street fighter isn't even in one of them. So she's only in 1.5, and I'm counting one as a half because there's about 3 punches and a kick and it's over. Funnily enough, there are more car chases in this film than there are fight scenes. It's just pretty disappointing, to be honest. So the version on this disc is a 2K restoration, which, I'm not going to lie, seems like a massive overkill for this film. Funnily enough though, visually, it really has cleaned up nice. It's clear, crisp, visually amazing. Audio-wise though, not so much. Throughout the entire film, there is a constant hiss, and it's pretty loud. It's weird. It's one of those where you notice it when the film starts, and you're like, oh my god, am I going to be listening to this for a while? But then you sort of forget that it's there. So about 20 minutes in, I'm guessing, I paused it to go grab a drink. And you get that feeling where there's been a constant annoying sound hitting your ears for 20 minutes. And on pausing it, it's that absence of the noise, and it makes you feel almost deaf. And after watching this and what I'll be talking about in the next section, not gonna lie, I had a massive headache at the end. It wasn't great. It wasn't a great sit. It kind of ruins the whole print all in all, really. This horrible hissing noise. Not great. And on the disc, we get obviously the feature, we get audio commentary from the director. We also get a selection of trailers from AGFA for other relevant films that honestly all looked way better than this. And finally, we get this film's sequel, Revenge of Lady Street Fighter. Oh god.
What a kook. They're all kooks.
At the end of Lady Street Fighter, we're presented with a little bit of teaser text saying that a sequel is in the works. This sequel never emerged, however, and was considered lost for a long time. It was made, though, all the way back in 1990, 9 years after the first one was made. It was just never released. That is until AGFA, I'm assuming it was AGFA, got a hold of it and put it out in 2018. I'm guessing it was on their American Blu-ray of Lady Street Fighter. And now we can all enjoy it. Written by Harmon again and directed by Bryan again. This film is not worth your time. It is not worth your time. They did a Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. But, whereas I would recommend Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 because it's half reused footage from a good slasher film and half new footage of an insane person mugging to camera, Revenge of Lady Street Fighter is 90% reused footage from a terrible film and 10% new footage that doesn't add anything and is somehow even worse than the reused footage. Basically, Harmon's character Linda comes back and she bursts in on her niece, I think. She's got a manuscript of her memoirs, I think it is, and she needs her niece to hide it because she's been attacked. So her niece hides it in a toilet, but she gets kidnapped by, I think, the police, and then people come in and introduce sections of the original film to her. That is the new stuff that's added. It's a 90-minute film, and I would hazard a guess that about 70 minutes of it is reused footage from the original, which is all of the original. It's reshuffled, sure, it's re-edited, it's in different orders and such, but you still get like half an hour chunks of the original film just played out as it was. And it's all presented with that goddamn hiss that was an issue in the original film. I can't believe I sat and watched these two films back to back. I would not recommend it. I would, fair enough, the first film has got its flaws, it's not great. Do not watch the sequel, it is the biggest waste of time. It is absolutely awful. Don't bother with it.
And the more you're with that person, the more the drug kicks in? That was really great.
It's all the same to me. Facts and figures. Facts and figures tell the whole story.
Okay, time for the case. And there's not too much to say about this, really. It's all pretty decent. The slipcover's nice, all the information's correct, and the artwork's pretty good. We don't get a reversible sleeve this time, but we do get another booklet, which again has an essay on the film, info on the transfer, and some nice bits of art. It's a way nicer thing than this film deserves, really. Overall then, this is a boring and bloated vanity project that only manages to be somewhat entertaining due to absolutely awful acting and performances. I can't believe something so short can be so dull. And the sequel isn't even a sequel. It's just the first film again. It's basically director's cut, where they add bullshit bookends just to give it some sort of context. It's just that. The first film might work with alcohol and friends. You can talk over the boring bits and laugh at the terrible acting, but in all honesty, I cannot recommend the first film, and I definitely do not recommend the second film. Do not watch the second film. If you are going to suffer through this though, this is pretty much your only way of watching it, and it's not too bad. Apart from the little hissing, which did give me a big headache, I mean, it's so-so. It's let's be honest, it's not great. Let me be fair, it's not great. I'm trying to be nice, but I don't know why. So, not a good one this episode, not good at all, but I know for a fact that it is going to be a good one next episode, as this is one of the few that I have seen before. Next episode, we're going to be checking out the McPherson Tape.